Chapter 61 How Much Do You Love Me? You are listening at novelfull.audio. I wasn't sure if she even heard Lin En. He. Then, in a flash, she was gone. Her body disappeared from Lin En's sight in a blur. Lin En's eyes widened with alarm. Fast. So damn fast. Even faster than she was last night. Is this what a blood-soaked evil spirit looks like in combat? Badass. Almost instantly, with a flash of red, a twisted, gleeful smile appeared right in front of the monster. No one could even see how she got there. Then, boom. Stab. Her sharp, black nails were like giant razors, carving 10 gruesome scars into the monster's body. A swarm of frenzied tentacles lashed out behind her, launching a lightning-fast, almost invisible assault. All Lin En could see was a blur of red. Her smile grew more and more twisted, her eyes more and more manic and delighted. She was like a predator who just locked onto its prey. Her 10 blade-like fingers danced in a frenzy, splattering the monster's blood everywhere. Kill. Ha. The deranged laughter, combined with the razor-sharp attack, was like a meat grinder, instantly shredding the monster's face and body. Lin En was frozen stiff. This had to be the combat style of a level monster. If he didn't shout 666 now, when would he? Lin En's eyes popped, and he yelled. That's the stuff. You're killing it. Lady, you are a stone-cold fox. Perfect. Flawless execution. Damn. That's slick, that attack is so sharp. Bullseye. Right on the money. Unstoppable. Awesome. Invincible. Oh my god. Check out that tentacle, it's straight for the heart. Ah. Those nails. Sharp. Perfect. Badass. The cute baby in Lin En's arms stared wide-eyed, clenched his tiny fist, and went, Oda. He was all hyped up. Lin En generously threw out every awesome word he could think of, just laying it on thick, whether it made sense or not. He was singing her praises. The blood-cloaked evil spirit's favorability towards you +1. The blood-cloaked evil spirit's favorability towards you +1. Threat level of the second target has increased. Initiating secondary countermeasures. Highest priority target. Target number 1. Hunting. Buzz. The giant eye of the monster, hacked to pieces by the blood-cloaked evil spirit, suddenly glowed. Almost at the same time, a thick exoskeleton burst out of its tattered flesh and blood, instantly blocking the blood-cloaked evil spirit's furious strikes. Clang. Sparks flew everywhere, and the shattered vertical eye instantly swiveled and zeroed in. His eyes snapped to Lin En. Buzz. Lin En immediately felt the same heavy curse he'd felt before. That damn gaze curse. Lin En, who'd been shouting 666, suddenly froze. No freaking way. You're getting your ass kicked, and you're still coming after me? How much do you gotta love me? Without another word, Lin En scooped up the cute baby, spun around, and hauled ass. Lady. I'm leaving this to you. For your daughter's sake. I'm making a tactical retreat. But don't worry. I'll be back to see you soon. Instantly, the curse activated, but almost at the same time, the blood-cloaked evil spirit, in a fit of rage, threw itself between Lin En and the monster, and the gaping wound on its face let out a terrifying, drawn-out howl at the monster. Whoosh. A swarm of faces poured out of the crack like moths, shattering the gaze curse. Target priority. Target number 1. Continuing to execute the highest devouring command. Priority hunting. Command is effective. In a flash, the arms of the flesh and blood monster grew wildly, like a horde of demons dancing madly. Its massive body surged toward Lin En, completely ignoring the blood-cloaked evil spirit's attempts to stop it. It kept Lin En locked on like a leech. Whack. Whack. One after another, whistling giant hands surrounded Lin En from all sides. Your opponent is me, he. Almost the instant it evaded the blood-cloaked evil spirit chasing Lin En, the long neck lashed out like a circling snake, wrapping around it, the twisted, grinning face on the neck stared directly into the monster's eye, whack, the ground beneath its feet cracked instantly, and barb-covered tentacles surged up, coiling around it like snakes. In an instant, countless tentacles shot out, severing those arms in midair, and began to flail wildly. It gave up slashing and started strangling it with its tentacles. He. That the tentacles hovering above it revealed the faces of laughing children, one after another, like they were enjoying a gourmet feast. Those ghostly faces ignored the scales covering the monster's body and started devouring it from the inside out, but even so, the monster was like a machine, staring at Lin En's back, continuing to move as if it wouldn't rest until it died. The threat level of number 2 has been further increased. Highest priority. Target number 1. Behavior restricted. Secondary response measures deployed. Hunting. In an instant, the massive eye shattered, the pieces fell to the ground like sticky pearls. Then, the fragments quickly reorganized, turning into countless normal-sized eyeballs. Its target was still Lin En. Lin En whipped around and immediately saw that the eyeballs on the ground had flipped over, looking right at him. Tiny tentacles began to wriggle out of the back of the eyeballs, scurrying toward him. Lin En was shocked and said, "Are you freaking kidding me?" The cute baby stared and clenched his little fists. He said, "Ola, stab. A large portion of the eyeballs were quickly poked and popped by the blood-cloaked evil spirit's tentacles before they could even escape the reach of its tentacles, but a significant number of eyeballs still broke through the encirclement, swarming toward Lin En. Lin En suddenly stopped, spun around, and gritted his teeth. Guess he couldn't run away after all. In that case, in a flash, he pulled out the demon-hunting revolver from his jacket and aimed it at the oncoming wave of eyeballs. His face hardened, and with the blessing of the 2 evil spirits' vertical eyes, he quickly locked onto every eyeball coming his way. Well, time to get hardcore. Click, that he squeezed the trigger. Chapter 62, Crisis. Synchronous Evolution. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Bang, 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 bang. Ding. You wasted an eyeball lackey X1, firearm proficiency +1, ding. You wasted an eyeball lackey X1, firearm proficiency +1, ding. You wasted an eyeball lackey X1, firearm proficiency +1, quick, left wheel. Lin En scrambled backward, cradling the giggling baby. He only had 6 shots left. Reloading would take 10+ seconds, the most vulnerable time. Need more limbs, stat. Lin En yanked out a flesh-proliferating potion and chugged it down. They were all mutated anyway, no point in worrying about extra limbs now. Instantly, the faceless heart devoured the potion, restoring his blood supply. The 4 severed tentacles began to regenerate at warp speed. The system notifications chimed in. Ding. Level 1 mutation detected. Ding. Level 1 mutation detected. Ding. Level 2 mutation detected. Crack. More tentacles erupted from Lin En's body. Smaller and less intimidating compared to the blood-clothed evil spirit's colossal appendages, but tentacles nonetheless. Lin En spun around, hooking the laughing baby onto a tentacle. His face hardened, gun in one hand, knife in the other, a cluster of razor-sharp tentacles aimed at the approaching horde of eyeballs. Lin En's eyes narrowed, gunshots echoed as he charged, his bony knife carving through a dozen eyeballs in a heartbeat. The tentacles accurately skewered more. Ding. Combat experience +1, ding. Combat experience +1, ding. Combat experience +1, bang, bang, bang. Bullets found their marks. System notifications flooded his senses. Evil vision gave him an edge. Even with his low firearm proficiency, his aim was spot on, and these mobs were perfect for leveling up. Thwack, starred at a sweeping strike, a dozen eyeballs cleaved in 2, ding. Combat experience +1, ding. Combat experience +1. Goo goo. Ga. The baby, dangling from the tentacle, kicked its legs, grabbing an eyeball and taking a bite like it was a Granny Smith. Under Lin En's relentless assault, the surging wave of eyeballs fell one by one. Attaboy, kid, the blood-clothed evil spirit, locked in a frenzied battle with the monster, glanced over, a crazed grin stretched across her face. Lin En dodged several eyeballs and gave her a thumbs up, a glint of teeth flashing in his smile. Just hold your horses, I got this. Things were looking up, the low-level eyeballs couldn't touch him, and the blood-clothed evil spirit seemed to have the monster pinned, at least, that's how it looked. Time ticked by. Ma'am. How's it going over there? Lin En finished off the last eyeball and shouted toward the blood-clothed evil spirit. Her countless tentacles and faces had almost completely engulfed the monster. Blood seeped from every crevice. He. I'm going deep into the core. The core is the weakness of these flesh puppets. Once its core is destroyed, this guy will be scrap metal. Her laughter echoed from the writhing mass of tentacles. Inside the pulsating flesh, a razor-sharp barb advanced, inch by inch, toward the core. I'm in contact. The blood-clothed evil spirit licked her lips, the barb contorted, morphing into a claw. She clutched the monster's core, thwack, fingernails pierced the flesh. Before she could celebrate, a chilling voice echoed from within the monster's body. Target analysis complete, generating countermeasures. Evil spirit aggregation countermeasures activated. Evil spirit curse countermeasures activated. Adjusting target priority. Target number 2, initiating highest hunting order. Hunt, counterattack, crack, synchronizing consumption protocol. A wave of dread washed over the blood-clothed evil spirit. Lin En saw the monster's tentacles convulse. Something was churning within. Something's wrong. He looked up, alarmed, squelch. Squelch. Squelch, Human hands erupted from the tentacles. They latched onto the outer walls, forming a cage around the blood-clothed evil spirit's appendages. Lin En was stunned. Had the monster been targeting him, using him to analyze and counter the blood-clothed evil spirit? Was it adapting? Damn it! Lin En charged forward. From inside the cage of hands, a sickening sound emerged, the sound of flesh being chewed and ground. The blood-clothed evil spirit's tentacles writhed. Something was tearing her apart. A blood-curdling scream. The tentacle nearest to Lin En contorted into the shape of the blood-clothed evil spirit. Tiny arms erupted across her body. She was being devoured from the inside. Wrong. Wrong. He. It's not afraid of me. It really thinks I can't threaten it. He. While I'm eating it, it's also analyzing me. He. This is not an easy opponent. He. Riot. The tentacle blood-clothed evil spirit was devoured from the inside by the tiny arms. She dissolved into a swarm of maggot-like pieces. Ma'am. Lin En sprinted forward. Hunting. Devouring. Generating. Deconstructing the curse. Absorbing. Assimilating. A colossal, blood-soaked tentacle erupted from the ground, blocking his path. Crack, the tip split, revealing barbs and vertical eyes. Warning. Threat level rising rapidly. Warning. Current threat level 70%. Warning. Current threat level 87%. This wasn't the blood-clothed evil spirit's tentacle. But it had been twisted, into the shape of that monster. Chapter 63. This is a very flexible tongue. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Priority command retrieval, analyzing target number 1, analyzing target number 2. Target adjustment postponed, highest priority hunt, target number 1. Just then, a sound ripped through the air. A massive tentacle lashed out at Lin, but before it could crush him, 2 identical tentacles erupted from the ground, ensnaring it with a sickening thud. Go! A savage voice echoed from inside the monster. It was the blood-clad evil spirit. She wasn't dead yet. She was still battling the monster within. Miss! Lin shouted. Then, in a flash, the tentacle, now controlled by the evil spirit, slammed into Lin. His pupils widened as the force sent him hurtling through the darkness beyond the street. Black fog swallowed his vision. He reached out, stumbling backward. His sight expanded. Soon, only the howling wind filled his ears. Bang! Lin hit the ground hard. He scrambled to his feet, breathing heavily. How? How could this have happened? Everything had been under control just moments ago. Without hesitation, Lin gritted his teeth and sprinted back the way he'd come, but he stopped short. No, that he looked up, he knew that if even Shui couldn't handle the monster, he'd be walking into his own death, but should he turn tail and run? Run like a coward, then wait for a chance to get revenge? No way, Lin spat, without another word, he raced back, not toward the fight, but toward his pharmacy. Bursting into the backyard, he frantically rummaged through boxes and cabinets, then, he grabbed the remaining flesh proliferation potion he'd been hiding. If she can hold on, there has to be a way to save her. Just as he was about to leave, he froze. For a heartbeat, he whirled around, panting, and headed for the cellar door. That's it. The teacher's pet. That thing can definitely help. Clang. Lin threw open the cellar door, and a wave of stench washed over him. Hey! Lin yelled into the darkness, I know you're playing dead, and I know you hate me for feeding you expired potions every day, but things are critical. I need your help. The teacher's in danger. That monster's at our door. It's targeting our bloodsaw pharmacy. If I die, you're going down with me. You're part of this shop, whether you like it or not. Hey! You hear me? Lin hissed, then he tossed a few rocks down into the cellar. Ding. The baby's affection for you decreased by -1. Ding. The baby's affection for you decreased by -1. Hiss. A menacing hiss slithered from the depths of the cellar, then, in the blink of an eye, a massive, writhing figure erupted from the cellar, its shadow engulfing Lin. Lin's eyes widened in shock. What is? Little baby. Rank? Alignment, lawful evil, race. Combat ability. Introduction, A, tongue hidden in the cellar of the bloodsaw pharmacy. It seems to be part of something larger. It was raised voluntarily by bloodsaw for unknown reasons. It loathes nothing more than expired potions that look like shit, and the human kid who fed it shit for 2 years. Baby? Lin murmured, hiss. The enormous tongue peered down at Lin. A slit on its tip revealed another, smaller tongue writhing within, which contained yet another tongue within that. It regarded Lin with a bizarre, curious expression. Hiss, fuck you. It glared at Lin. Somehow, Lin instantly understood the meaning behind its hiss. Lin reached out and grabbed its slick surface. You cursing at me again? Hiss, fuck you bastard. Lin gritted his teeth, tugging at the tongue. Fine. Curse all you want. But this is serious. My friend is fighting that monster out there. And that monster is coming for us. You might be ugly and cowardly, but you're still part of the bloodsaw pharmacy. I was the one who fed you. Think about it. If my friend goes, and I go, who's next? That's right. It's you, you ugly, cowardly tongue. Lin hissed back, ding. The baby's affection for you decreased by -10. Ding. The baby's affection for you decreased by -10. Hiss hiss, no way, won't save. Lin grabbed the base of its tongue. That's not shit. It's medicine. Maybe a little expired, but it's still medicine. Hiss, hiss hiss, no time to talk, won't save. Lin blew a fuse, seizing the base of the tongue. Okay. You come with me, and I'll feed you top-shelf medicine every day for the next 2 months. The good stuff. A brief silence. Hiss, consider, ding. The baby's affection for you increased by 0.001, then, in a flash, the snake-like tongue uncoiled from the cellar, extending wildly. It wrapped itself around Lin. In an instant, it shot out of the shop. That was one flexible tongue. Out on the street, in less than 5 seconds, Lin and the big tongue were back on the battlefield. Lin gasped at the sight of the street. It was a ruined wasteland, scarred by the battle. In the center, the monster, writhing with countless arms, swelled and shrank. Complete consumption progress, 54%, 55%. Target number 1 detected approaching, highest priority hunt, switching targets. Crash. In a heartbeat, colossal tentacles covered in vertical pupils burst from the ground, big tongue. It turned tail and tried to run. 3 months. Lin grabbed the tip of the big tongue. Save my friend. I'll feed you the good stuff every day for 3 months, ding. The baby's affection for you increased by 0.01. Hiss, deal. Chapter 64. Nothing will end. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The tongue suddenly went wild. Lin En, without a second thought, put the kid down, tweaked her animal ears, and spun around, gritting his teeth. Let's go. In a heartbeat, Lin En, knife and tongue ready, charged toward the cocoon in the center with unbelievable speed. Cover me. If I can get to that thing, I have a way to save my friend. Lin En yelled. The tongue, hearing this, circled Lin En, flicked its tip, and started scarfing down the tentacles blocking the way. The tentacles, each with a vertical eye, launched an attack. Attack! Lin En roared, knife pointed forward, asterisk whoosh, star, the long, flexible tongue lashed out, connecting with a tentacle, asterisk slurp, star. A disgusting sound echoed. Then, before Lin En's eyes, the huge tentacle dissolved into a puddle of thick blood and nasty saliva. Ding. Tastes like crap, baby's affection -1, ding. Don't wanna lick it, baby's affection -1. Nice one. Lin En cheered. He tightened his hood and picked up the pace. The huge tentacles in their path became piles of pulp and blood thanks to the tongue's gross licking. 100 meters. 80 meters. 30 meters. Getting closer. Analyzing target number 3. Colossus missing tissue. Priority. Containment, top priority. Activating anti-corrosion mode. Anti-curse mode activated. Containment online. Suddenly, Lin En saw what looked like capillaries erupting from the ground around the tentacles, forming a barrier, asterisk thwack, 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 star. These tentacles shot out, piercing his body and ensnaring the tongue from every direction. Little buddy. Lin En shouted, shocked. The tongue struggled fiercely, secreting a ton of mucus. The mucus hit the ground, corroding it into trenches, but the tentacles didn't care. Screech. The tongue hissed. Lin En had no time to worry. He pushed forward, a fierce look on his face, toward the monster and its many arms. 1 step. 2 steps. 3 steps. Crack, crack, crack. The monster's arms split open, revealing a giant vertical pupil. As the eye focused on him, Lin En put every ounce of strength he had, every tentacle on his body working together, and hurled himself at the cocoon. His cloak flapped wildly, gritting his teeth. Lin En reached out, hand outstretched towards the center of the pupil. Gotcha. His hand passed through the pupil. With the blood demon cloak's power, he merged with the cocoon as a phantom. Wriggling flesh surrounded him. Lin En grimaced. The evil spirit's gaze locked on him as he grabbed the shattered arm. He popped open the flesh growth potion. Roaring, he yanked the almost dead evil spirit toward him, shoving the entire bottle of potion against her chest. Asterisk whoosh, star. The instant she touched the potion, her broken limbs began to regenerate, and the screams of countless evil spirits echoed. An evil spirit wouldn't just give up. 1 more step. Lin En reached out, ghost hair. Strands of hair wrapped the evil spirit while the rest shot out, anchoring themselves to the buildings on either side of the street. Go! Lin En yelled. The vengeful spirit's hair tightened, dragging the resurrected evil spirit free. Flesh squeezed and the cocoon bulged. The monster spoke, its voice chilling. Target number 2 being extracted. Switching priority to target number 1. Initiating ghost counterattack. Starting assimilation. As the target switched, Lin En yelled to the tongue outside. Now that he had found the monster's weakness, when it switched targets, there was a gap, a moment when the previous target was neglected and the next target wasn't fully locked on. That was the time to save her. A strand of ghost hair shot out, wrapping around the tongue's tip. In that final moment, the tongue pulled back with everything it had. Asterisk pop, star. The resurrected evil spirit was yanked from the monster's cocoon. Lin En's ghost form flew out with her. Hope was within reach. Lin En's eyes widened. The black fog was close. He reached out. Ghost counterattack initiated. Assimilation underway. Highest priority. Target number 1. Asterisk buzz, star, Lin En's body froze as it was pulled back, his pupils froze, the vengeful spirit's hair snapped at the moment of the ghost's counterattack, just, that 1 second, that 1 second was the difference between life and death, the cloak shattered, his skin tightened with granulation. The flesh wall squeezed, twisting his body into a ball with a crack, consciousness faded, no one would mourn him, no one would be sad, no one would see him die. Was this the end? Was this fate? Would his life end so soon? If so, Lin En, barely able to move, flipped the bird. Screw you, asterisk crack, star dot asterisk crack, star dot asterisk crack, star. Every flesh growth potion he had was crushed, the liquid spread through his twisted body, it wasn't over. If he was going down, he was taking it with him. Ding! Your body has undergone a level 3 mutation. Warning! Using too much flesh growth potion at once will cause mutation to become completely uncontrolled. Warning! Warning! Ding! Your body has undergone a level 4 mutation. Ding! Your body has undergone a level 6 mutation. Ding! Your body has undergone a level 9 mutation. Chapter 65 Unstoppable. Mutant Riot. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Mutations were spiraling out of control. Suddenly, the monster's body ballooned, covered in pulsating bulges. It was like something trapped inside was fighting to break free, faces and tentacles pushed against the skin, their outlines becoming clearer. Warning, unidentified mutation detected, initiating advanced analysis, emergency suppression protocols engaged. Target analysis complete, countermeasures deployed. Warning, target exhibiting anomalous mutation, analysis invalid, beginning secondary analysis. Secondary analysis complete, anti-warning enabled, target has undergone new mutations, analysis invalid. Third deconstruction, data failure, fourth deconstruction, data failure. A cacophony of garbled sounds erupted within the monster. Meanwhile, outside, the baby, startled by the sudden change, gaped at the bulging, twisting monster. It had no idea what was happening, but it could sense that something indescribable was growing inside the monster, and it realized something. Those indescribable things all shared the aura of the human boy. Nearby, the half-destroyed blood-robed evil spirit, previously dragged out, snapped awake. Thanks to the powerful flesh growth serum, her broken body was rapidly healing. What is this? But she didn't have time to process anything. Her eyes were wide with shock at the grotesque sight of the convulsing monster, and then, she sensed the familiar aura within. Could it be? Her face drained of color as she struggled to her feet. Lin. Unable to parse, conflicting information, target mutation exceeds core analysis capacity. Activating highest level consumption command, activating maximum response. Evil spirit counterattack initiated, furnace mode engaged, biological kill mode engaged. Consume, hunt, warn, destroy. The flesh monster began to scream, countless arms erupted from its body, piercing its own flesh. Warning. Affected by the flesh puppet's growth, mutation is completely out of control. Warning. External forces are severely impacting the flesh. Mutation spreading rapidly. Bite. Your body has a level 9 mutation. Bite. Your body has a level 9 mutation. Crash. In that instant, as the blood-robed evil spirit and the big tongue watched in horror, a massive tentacle with a hollow human face burst from the monster's body. The tentacle, writhing, stretched hundreds of feet into the air. Roar echoed across the sky, the force of it shook the whole street. What the hell is that? That even the blood-robed evil spirit recoiled in fear. She could see clearly that the faces plastered on the terrifying tentacle were all identical to Lin's. Distortion, chaos, catastrophe. Then, the transformation intensified, a gaping hole tore through the monster's massive vertical pupil, and thick, scarlet mucus poured out. Wah, wah, a horrifying infant's cry. Within the viscous, scarlet liquid, embryonic babies struggled to emerge, and each baby's face was a perfect copy of Lin's. Baby SAN value -50. The blood-robed evil spirit's SAN value -40. Even the blood-robed evil spirit was terrified by the horrifying scene. It was a primal fear, polluting her very vision. And these were only the disasters erupting from its surface. She could sense countless other monsters struggling and screaming within. Biological extermination initiated. Biological extermination initiated. Emergency extermination initiated. Urgent commands blared from the monster's body. The flesh monster writhed, one of its arms morphed into the tumor-covered head of a giant dragon, unleashing a torrent of fiery dragon breath at the screaming embryonic babies on the ground. Whoosh! Terrifying flames swept across the ground, simultaneously, other arms sprouting from its body frantically wrapped around the tentacle covered in faces, tearing and crushing. It had become a full-blown free-for-all. Warning, unidentified mutants number 3, 4, and 5 are about to breach containment. Biological extermination, extermination. Puff puff, the moment those words were spoken, twisted masses of flesh and blood erupted from the monster's back, facial features were haphazardly stuck to their surfaces, and they screamed and bit at the monster's body as soon as they appeared. The monster was overwhelmed, countless arms scrambled to deal with the new mutants, the blood-robed evil spirit's face went white at the horrific sight. She activated her evil spirit vision. When she saw what was happening inside, her face was contorted in horror. Lin, that she could no longer discern Lin's form inside, the monster's body was a mass of flesh undergoing constant, fatal mutations. Countless terrifying changes, like a flood bursting a dam, were erupting from the flesh. Catastrophe. An almost unimaginable contamination disaster. Warning, unable to contain, biological extermination failed, target threat elevated to 0. Initiating emergency flesh reorganization, initiating emergency preparation plan. The voice emanating from the monster's body grew increasingly frantic, then, its entire body began to compress inward, radiating uncontrollable heat, squeezing its interior, as if trying to obliterate the internal mutation by force. Ding! The host's flesh is being invaded and devoured. The host's life is critically damaged. Ding! Your body has undergone a level 9 mutation. Ding! Mutation failed, flesh is severely disrupted by cells, life form is anomalous. Anomalous material composition. Warning! The host's body is undergoing an unknown special mutation. Ding! Unknown level mutation detected. Unknown level mutation generates will. Uncontrollable. Uncontrollable. Then, the blood-robed evil spirit's vision was abruptly cut off, but in the last moment, she saw something terrible beginning to grow from the twisted flesh, and almost simultaneously, the monster's body convulsed, and sticky blood oozed from every pore. Warning, a special unidentified mutant has appeared, unable to analyze, accelerating reorganization process. Target exhibiting intense hostility, target exhibiting intense devouring instinct, flesh reorganization impeded. Warning, target is devouring the body, evil spirit counterattack failed, flesh reorganization failed, biological kill failed. Target growing rapidly, body loss rate is 12%. 21%. 26%, cannot be contained, cannot be contained. Chapter 66 Eat Up. Special Unknown Mutation. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Outside, under the pale gaze of the blood-robed evil spirit, the monster's bulges flattened rapidly, as if being eaten from the inside. He he he. Ha ha ha. Children's laughter echoed from within, sending shivers down the evil spirit's spine. Her pupils trembled. It was the same laughter she made when transforming into her combat form. A terrifying thought struck her, some unimaginable disaster was being born inside. And among it, were the curses and body fragments she had swallowed. What is this? Suddenly, the monster's arms sank, pulled into its body from within, one after another. In moments, they were all gone. He he he. Ha ha ha. Then, the tentacle covered in Lin En's face was yanked back into the monster. Countless terrifying embryos leaked out, asterisk crunch. Crunch, star, the sound of chewing came from inside, blood-clothed evil spirit sanity -10, blood-clothed evil spirit sanity -10. Warning. Warning. All machines are ineffective. Machine loss, 88%. Warning. Target devouring the core. Target devouring. Sizzle. Warning. The evil spirit trembled. The interrupted warnings filled her with dread, the monster's pupils dimmed, and its massive body collapsed, as if completely consumed from the inside, asterisk click, star. A hole opened in its side, a blood-stained hand flopped out, twitched, and then went still. The evil spirit stood frozen, her mind blank. Then, snapping to, her breathing quickened. The flesh puppet is dead. Meanwhile, in a dark world, an upside-down tower stood, asterisk boom, star. An explosion rocked a facility at its base, instantly killing everything nearby. Warning. Warning. Flesh puppet type 3, disconnected. Target search in progress. 98% body damage. All connections failed. Alarms blared within the tower, flames spread from the control facilities as people fled in terror. What's happening? From deep within the tower, a hoarse voice came from a bubbling container. Master. The Type 3 flesh puppet sent to hunt Bloodsaw and his group is gone. The backlash wave destroyed the control base. A black-robed figure burst into the hall. Around the container, dozens of demons at tables reacted with alarm. You're kidding. A towering demon rose, snarling, Type 3 puppets are our demon association's best hunters. Only root-level or king-level creatures are a threat. Who else could stand against it? The others agreed. The Type 3's power and hunting prowess had been clear. They had used the puppets to eliminate almost all the rebellious demons who refused to return. One had even fought a monarch. 5 days before, although defeated, the monarch had no easy way to deal with it. Blood saw, that the voice in the container spoke. I know him. He led the first generation of puppets, but these flesh puppets are beyond that era. He's incapable of killing my perfect creation. The demons frowned. Order, the voice continued. Locate the Type 3's last coordinates. Send the Predator column and Type 3 puppet number 4 to investigate. We must have accurate intelligence. Yes, they bowed. In Wandering Soul Alley, the streets were shrouded in black fog. The evil spirit raced to the monster and tore it open. Even she gasped at the sight inside. The monster was hollow, just a thin shell with gnawed flesh walls. Something horrible had happened, and the mutated flesh was gone, as if devoured. Lin En, are you okay? She shook off her fear, broke open the shell, grabbed Lin En's hand, and pulled him out. Blood and fluids gushed out. Lin En's naked body was unharmed. He hadn't been hurt at all, as if untouched by the horror, but the normalcy was what made it even more unsettling. Never mind. Let's get back. The evil spirit hoisted him onto her back and ran. Lin En's eyes were closed, his left hand swinging, unnoticed. A long tongue flicked from his palm, tasting the blood on her back, and then vanished. Chapter 67 Function, Flesh and Blood Catastrophic. You are listening at novelfull.audio. * Bing. Congrats on completing the mission, Blood Knight. You scored 20,000 skeleton coins, 5,000 basic experience points, and snagged the unique special reward, Function, Flesh Cataclysm. Bing. You've hit level 10. Initiating Job Change Quest. Bonus experience is temporarily stored, and will be granted upon completion of job change, star. A good while later, Lin En groggily woke up. He instinctively rubbed his eyes, yawned, and mumbled, morning already? Time to open up the camp. Then BAM. Last night's memories crashed over him like a tidal wave. His eyes snapped wide open, and he bolted upright in bed. What the? He looked around, bewildered. This was an elegant bedroom, with neatly made bed, a little white flower on the windowsill, and a huge full-length mirror across the room. The memories clicked into place with his surroundings. He recognized it, the blood-clad succubus's room. Something's off. That he scrubbed his aching head and frowned. He vividly remembered being swallowed by the monster yesterday, his flesh and blood twisted into a mangled mess, but the aftermath? Total blank. How did I get here? Lin En threw back the covers, hopped out of bed, and stood in front of the mirror, scowling at the handsome young guy staring back. And my body is intact? Lin En looked at his hands, a weird dream unfolding. Lin, you're awake. Downstairs in the living room, the blood-clad succubus was bustling around in the kitchen. Seeing Lin En stumble down the stairs, draped in sheets, she looked surprised, then she rushed over, grabbed his neck, pulled him close, and blurted, "How are you feeling? Is anything wrong with your body?" Lin En hesitated. "What time is it?" "Already the next day." "What about the monster?" 10 minutes later. Lin En couldn't help but frown as he listened to the succubus's story. "So, you're saying that when you came to yesterday, you found a ton of nasty creatures growing inside the monster, and then it was torn apart from the inside?" That the succubus stared at him. "Yep. After I dragged you out of that puppet's carcass, you were already like this." The system prompts he'd heard before blacking out instantly flashed in his mind: flesh and blood proliferation potion. Right. The system's final message said the mutation was spiraling out of control. Clearly, while he was out cold, tons of mutations went wild in his body. Could his mutated limbs have ripped the monster to shreds from the inside? Lin En raised an eyebrow, but if that's the case, why is he completely fine? "Where's the monster's body?" Lin En asked. "Backyard," the succubus said, leaning on the table. "After I pulled you out, I went back and dragged it here. Figured there had to be some secret locked inside such a powerful creature." Lin En jumped up. "Take me to see it." Out back, Lin En squatted down, frowning at the stinking pile of twisted flesh in the yard. Yesterday's monster was unrecognizable. All that was left was a collapsed, mangled husk. "Chew marks." Lin En reached out and touched the inside of the monster, his expression thoughtful. The succubus nodded, serious. "Yeah, something gnawed its way out from the inside. Judging by the situation, the puppet's body should only have." She stared at Lin En glanced at her, thinking, "She doesn't think I ate it, does she?" The succubus said seriously, "We can't rule out the possibility. You were mutating pretty badly. Some of the monsters inside even gave me the creeps." Lin En's eyes narrowed. If that was true, maybe he only looked normal. Maybe he was carrying some kind of hidden mutation. Without a word, he pulled up his basic stats. Lin. Level, 10, ready for job change. Race, human, variant. Strength, 22, agility, 23. Intelligence, 26, constitution, 51, unspent points, for, data enriched, sorry. Bio, this mad scientist wannabe from Bloodsaw Pharmacy Shop gets along well with powerful monsters and has an uncanny ability to make friends. While he can't help but be a bit of a scrounger, his courage and fighting skills really show when the chips are down. Variant. The system's surprisingly positive description made him feel pretty good, but seeing the word variant, Lin En's heart leaped into his throat. System. Explain. Where did I mutate? Lin En demanded urgently in his head. The next moment, Bing. You've triggered the quest, body's reaction. Reward, 1,000 skull coins, 500 basic experience points, legendary reward X1, star. Quest description, overusing flesh-proliferating drugs in a special environment caused the host's body to merge with the flesh puppet and induced a malignant, special mutation. Quest objective, identify the body's mutation within half a day and find a way to control it. Quest failure, the mutation will completely overwrite the host's personality, an irreversible process. Star. Lin. That I'm asking you where I mutated, not to give me a friggin' quest. System. Can't you just tell me where the mutation is? Bing. Hosts are encouraged to explore on their own. Star. That was it. A herd of PMSing unicorns trampled through Lin's brain. He wanted to rip the system out, pin it to the bed, and spank it senseless. Bing. The host is requested not to think disrespectful things about the system. The system has given the host extra help, so the host is asked to explore on their own. Here, have a bird and figure it out for yourself. A lengthy list of colorful insults has been omitted for propriety's sake. Then, under the succubus's confused gaze, Lin En suddenly stood up, turned around, and said calmly, "Sorry, gotta handle some urgent business. See you later." Lin En bolted out the door. The succubus looked stunned. But less than 5 seconds after Lin En sprinted out, he burst back in, grabbed the empty monster husk from in front of the succubus, and took off with it in his arms. "I'm taking this useless flesh back to make medicine. See you later." Chapter 68 Ole Gee, done. You are listening at novelfull.audio. 10 minutes later, Lin, a hefty guy wrapped only in a sheet, rushed back to his pharmacy. The place was trashed. The aftermath of yesterday's fight had left the hall in total chaos. Lin didn't waste any time. He quickly found his soul lamp, lit it, hung it on the doorpost, and then bolted to the backyard. The loft and front hall were wrecked, but the backyard was mostly intact. The cellar door was open. Looks like the kid was back, but Lin had bigger problems right now. He was in deep trouble. Okay, think. Just think. Lin forced himself to calm down, his mind racing. What do I do about this mutation inside me? I think the old man had some books about this. Without another word, Lin tore down to the basement, kicked the door open, and charged into his teacher's library. He normally wasn't allowed in here, but this was an emergency. He had to figure out what was happening to him, and fast. He lit candles, slapped on a monocle, and started frantically flipping through stacks of books. Malignant cell mutations caused by radiation exposure. Body disfigurements from 100 bizarre curses. Novel, The Tale of the Mutated Lolita and Her Tentacles. Guide, 35 surefire ways to tame your evil spirit babe. Lin dug up a bunch of obscure and probably useless books and started skimming them. After an hour, he slammed a book shut, his face grim. Okay, 100 options. Time to start trying stuff. And if that doesn't work, well, then we get desperate. After thinking it over, Lin had a few key takeaways. First, the mutation was still incubating, or for some reason, it couldn't just burst out and kill him. The reasoning was simple: if the mutation could just take over, the system wouldn't have given him half a day. Second, it was uncontrollable and might have its own agenda. Third, whatever had devoured that monster was probably this mutant inside him. It was clearly crazy strong, and he couldn't beat it in a straight fight. Fourth, the system had thrown him a bone. Lin took a deep breath and opened his skill list: infectious aura, curse diagnosis, function, flesh cataclysm. Lin's eyes widened. That was right. It was the skill he'd gotten from that Blood Knight mission. Function, flesh cataclysm. Quality, special. Description, this ability, gained through violent flesh and blood recombination and brutal mutation, allows the host to freely manipulate their own flesh and blood for secondary recombination and reproduction. The upper limit of this ability depends on the host's constitution score. Flesh control. Lin stared at his hands. So, the fight with that monster had somehow unlocked a new special ability. Whatever, time to test it out. Lin closed his eyes and focused his will on a spot deep inside his body. Instantly, his pupils dilated. He felt it. He felt the change. It worked. This ability really let him rearrange his flesh and blood at will. Holy crap, it's bigger and firmer than ever. This skill is the bomb. I'm unstoppable. Nope. Lin snapped himself back to reality. No time for weird thoughts, and definitely no time to think about the pervy implications of this skill. He had to figure out how to identify and contain the mutant inside him, and if the mutant had eaten that monster, where was all that meat stored? His skinny frame couldn't possibly hold it all. And he was pretty sure he hadn't gained any weight. Okay, let's assume the meat is still in there somewhere, but it hasn't been digested. The mutant is just masking its presence. Lin thought. And since the mutant is inside me, anything that messes with me is bound to mess with it. After all, we're sharing the same body now. So. Lin's eyes narrowed, a dangerous glint in them. He slowly turned his head and looked at a bottle in the corner. The labels were mostly gone, but he could make out the words pest and kill. The room fell silent. Jackpot! Lin grabbed the bottle of pesticide, ripped off the lid, and started chugging it down. It was a super-strength insecticide he'd cooked up based on his pre-isekai chemistry knowledge. Drinking it would definitely give him diarrhea, make him throw up, and generally feel like he was dying. But a real man isn't afraid of bug spray. Warning. Host suffering life loss. Abnormal buff acquired, pesticide poisoning. While he could still move, Lin stumbled to the alchemy room, tore through the storage boxes, and started pulling out all the expired meds he'd been hoarding. Lin narrowed his eyes and snapped open the lid of one of the bottles. Wisps of skull-shaped smoke drifted out. He had no idea what these months-old expired medicines would do, but... Let's do this. Lin gritted his teeth, tipped his head back, and gulped down one bottle after another. Warning. Host has acquired abnormal buff, severe itching. Warning. Host has acquired abnormal buff, extreme skin rash. Warning. Host has acquired abnormal buff, viral spread. The system warnings kept piling up. Lin's plan was simple, since the mutation was connected to him, and if it had its own will, he could force it out by trying to kill himself. It was a battle of wills. Without a word, Lin grabbed a bunch of ingredients, ripped open his teacher's potion book, and started flipping through the pages while tossing everything into a cauldron. The fire roared, and the cauldron started bubbling with colorful fluids. Lin grinned, his teeth bared, staring at the gurgling potion with a twisted smile. The colorful light reflected on his face, making him look insane. Ding. You have brewed a poisonous plague potion X1. Ding. You have brewed a severe weakness potion X1. Ding. You have brewed a malignant virus potion X1. Your potion brewing experience +1. Your potion brewing experience +1. Chapter 69. He forced it in. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The prompts kept pinging in Lin's ears. In under 2 hours, Lin had cooked up over a dozen terrifying and bizarre potions, following the recipe book, to make them go down smoother. Lin even unearthed the old wine his teacher had been aging underground for ages. Everything was set. Lin lugged the rocking chair to the backyard, plopped down, and settled in. He took a swig of the virus potion, chased it with a swig of old wine. A look of bliss on his face, rocking back and forth, seeming to be having the time of his life. Ding. You've been poisoned. Health rapidly declining, death imminent within 20 minutes. Glug. Ding. Recovery potion consumed, health temporarily restored. Ding. The virus is rampaging through your organs. Expect death from complications within 15 minutes. Glug. Ding. 2 bottles consumed, life temporarily extended. Minutes later, Lin En smirked, spreading his hands, feeling the onslaught of indescribable complications ripping through him. He was experiencing more than a dozen distinct types of pain, not to mention the itching, burning, melting, chills, and fever. It was like being swarmed by ants on the inside, like a vice clamped around his windpipe, crushing his chest. Every bad reaction imaginable, he was feeling it. This would be enough to off a normal person 10 times over. Lin En chuckled, gritting his teeth. This was where willpower came into play. Lin En started the stopwatch. 20 minutes, tentatively. If nothing happened in 20 minutes, he'd go for another 20. Soon, the first 20 minutes were almost up. Lin En hadn't noticed anything else beyond the chaos already happening inside. Lin En gritted his teeth and downed more recovery potions and antidotes. Smack. He slammed the table and grabbed for the various poison potions he'd placed nearby. Again, time flew. The second 20 minutes loomed. His left hand twitched almost imperceptibly, but Lin En didn't notice it. His whole body was shaking anyway, and it wasn't just shaking, his face was cycling through every color in the rainbow. Again. Lin En reached out, trembling, and knocked over an antidote. The third 20 minutes, Lin En lay stiff in the rocking chair, a symphony of horrifying complications playing out across his body. Like some twisted torture method, his left hand was now twitching uncontrollably. A puddle of yellowish liquid seemed to be seeping out of his palm, but in his current state, winky face, Lin En was beyond noticing his left hand. because there wasn't a single part of him that wasn't screaming. He'd practically fried his internal organs. Again. Lin En could barely speak, but he managed to pick up another pesticide and chug it down. Finally, as the fourth 20 minutes were drawing to a close, Lin En's ears were filled with an unmistakable, shaky system prompt, ding. Fear of you plus 10. His left hand had twisted around, a hole in the palm bubbling with white foam, twitching sporadically, but Lin En, in his winky face state, was past hearing. He was teetering on the edge, probably already flipped over the edge. Again, I can still do it. Lin En, winky face, trembled, reaching for the pesticide bottle just out of reach. The system prompts flared up, frantic, ding. Fear of you plus 10, ding. Fear of you plus 11, ding. Fear of you plus 12, almost out of control. His left hand trembled, grabbing the rocking chair arm, clamping down twice, and a crack split open in his palm. Ugh, countless bubbles oozed from the palm. Oh, it was done for, the drugs had taken hold. But Lin En, in his winky face state, was completely fried. He dragged the chair, crawling forward to snatch the pesticide bottle. That's how intense his self-destruction was. I can still. System. Left hand, omega. Ding. Fear of you plus 15, ding. Fear of you plus 20, seeing Lin En almost grab the pesticide, his left hand freaked out, crawling in the opposite direction, leaving a trail of sticky white goo. The experiment had gone sideways. Was this host a lunatic? It had never seen someone so determined to off themselves. Antidote. It couldn't take it anymore. 0q Yamit. Finally, the shaking left hand gathered every ounce of strength and launched itself toward the antidote, wrenching the top off and guzzling it down through the hole in its palm. Halfway through, it turned, checking on Lin En, left hand. Oh, hell no. Omega. It was furious. While it was busy with the antidote, Lin En was pounding down pesticide, glug, and way faster. Damn it. Its whole hand felt like it was gonna explode. Ding. Fear of you plus 10, ding. Fear of you plus 10, every second counted. The left hand fumbled with the antidote bottle, chugging it down. It wasn't afraid of poisons. But even it couldn't stand its host force-feeding it. Dumping so much in it could make anyone sick. Finally, after finishing a bottle of antidote, its left hand drooled, broken and limp. It wanted to just chill and recover, but then it sensed the body behind it moving again. It turned, trembling. Lin En, numb from the drugs, winky face, was struggling across the ground, reaching for another unopened poison bottle in a pile of bottles. That was some scary dedication to killing himself. Left hand, oh no, omega, ding. Fear of you plus 20, ding. Fear of you plus 20, the left hand grabbed a pillar, screaming at the top of its lungs. Hell no. Chapter 70. Just the last 2 centimeters. You are listening at novelfull.audio. I've seriously had it. After you gorge yourself on all kinds of crazy stuff at night, you're just trying to let it digest, and bam. You get force-fed a load of pesticide. If it's just a little, and you don't feel too awful, you can suck it up for a while, and it'll pass. But he basically chugged the whole bottle. Okay, fine, if you actually die, whatever, but this dude's just hanging on by a thread, teetering between life and death. This is total BS. Complete and utter BS. His left hand was clamped onto a pillar like a vice. No matter how much the body behind it flopped and writhed, it just held on for dear life and wouldn't let go. Lin En, practically zombified from the poison, degree, kept lunging forward. The willpower was insane. Even fragmented, it was still locked onto fulfilling its pre-fragmentation goals. Let go, meds. Lin En mumbled, drool bubbling from his mouth. No way. No meds. Lefty screamed, and so began a long, brutal stalemate. Seriously, at this point, letting go meant instant death. So they were locked in a death grip for a solid 10 minutes. Finally, a tiny vortex appeared in Lin En's eyes, and he stretched out a trembling hand towards the pesticide. He got within spitting distance, then his hand dropped to the floor, white foam poured from his mouth, and a wisp of green smoke curled from his head, so close, yet so far, missed it by an inch. Utterly defeated, Lin En finally face-planted onto the floor, completely dosed out. Ugh! At last, his left hand spasmed and slipped from the pillar, leaving a slick trail of white foam, but it didn't give up. It was still in the game. It dragged the smoking, convulsing body behind it, fingers splayed, and clawed its way towards the alchemy room, spitting and trembling the whole way, one finger at a time, one stumble after another. A thick trail of foam marked its desperate path. The sheer will to live, the struggle, was on full display. Meds, 0Q, antidote, wah. Finally, with a shaky hand, he hauled the smoking carcass into the lab, somehow managed to climb onto a shelf, and fumbled the lid off a recovery potion. Glug glug, glug glug. He used every last ounce of strength to down every potion he could grab. Then the left hand, also foaming at the mouth like Lin En, finally went belly up. Who knows how long it took. Ding. Your poison resistance +1, ding. Your poison resistance +1, ding. Achievement unlocked, Poison Hoarder. Awarded 300 base XP, ding. Achievement unlocked, What Doesn't Kill You. Awarded 300 base XP, Poison Hoarder, Special Achievement. Chance to unlock after surviving 500 poisonings in a short time frame. Grants permanent attribute bonuses, all attributes +1, poison resistance +10, What Doesn't Kill You, Special Achievement. Chance to unlock after surviving 200 different poisons in a short time frame. Grants permanent bonuses, all attributes +2, constitution +5, poison resistance +5. Bombarded by system notifications, Lin En finally blinked awake, groggy, rubbing his throbbing temples. He hauled himself up, wincing. He felt like his body didn't even belong to him anymore. Did I cure that mutant? He lurched to his feet, then immediately face-planted again. He was too weak like he'd just finished some kind of special forces training marathon. Lin En shook his head, trying to recall what happened before he blacked out. His head was still swimming, and his thoughts were fuzzy, but he had a vague memory. Near the end of the ordeal, he thought he saw something weird happening inside him, like a part of himself was acting on its own. What was it? Lin rubbed his eyes, straining to remember. Unbeknownst to him, his left hand, resting on his lap, suddenly twitched, then it flipped over, palm up, and the hole in its palm started wheezing and whispering. I'm saved. Instantly, Lin En's body locked up. His gaze, frozen in horror, fell on his panting left hand. A status screen popped up in his face. Race, aberrant mutation, alignment, lawful evil, level, none, combat power, ravenous devouring instinct, currently weakened. Description, a unique mutation born from a human boy through unforeseen circumstances. Contains tissues from a Type 3 flesh puppet, the heart of a faceless demon, fragments of an evil spirit aggregate, and more. Coexists with its host, possesses immense power, but harbors a particular aversion to pesticides. The left hand also sensed Lin En's gaze and locked onto him. Even without eyes, there was an unmistakable feeling of eye contact. A tense silence filled the air. Lin En's sanity -10, left hand sanity -9, then, in a heartbeat, Lin En's left hand snapped open its bloody maw, bearing razor-sharp teeth, and lunged for his head like a wild animal. Gonna eat you. Lin En reacted instantly, gritting his teeth, grabbing his left wrist with his right, and shoving it back with all his might. I knew it. My left hand went rogue. That's why I couldn't grab the meds. That with a crash, Lin En was knocked onto his back. The left hand's massive mouth grew wider and more monstrous, teeth snapping inches from his face. In this critical moment, Lin En's own ferocity kicked in. He rolled over, wrapping his hand tightly around his left wrist, gritting his teeth, and fighting back. No way. This thing is too strong. If this goes on, it'll rip my head off. I need a plan. Wait a minute. I just unlocked that new skill. Skill, Flesh and Blood Cataclysm. Buzz, Lin En focused every ounce of his will on his left hand, clenched his jaw, and unleashed the skill. Instantly, blood churned and flesh surged in his arm, but he immediately felt an enormous force pushing back from his left hand, resisting his control. The mutant's will was fighting him. You think you can control me with that lame trick? I'll eat you first. Take this. Chomp chomp chomp, the teeth snapped even more frantically. Although Lin En couldn't completely subdue his left hand, he managed to stall the attack, easing the pressure on his right hand. Screw you. You can talk. I'm taking you down. One of us is dying today. Let's go. Lin En was beyond furious.